I prefer playing live than in my apartment. Much prefer it, because that live energy is something that is, you cannot get live streaming. You can't get it. It's totally different, you know? Yeah. As much as I love YouTube.com. Yeah. And I do. I really do.
Hello.
Hello.
This is Sina Stieding. My name is Sina Stieding. I'm the Trends Manager at YouTube, and at YouTube I do a lot of things, but I also have this podcast where I talk about, you guessed it, trends.
Oh,
and
lovely.
I'm here today with a walking trend. They call him the Loopdaddy. It's Marc Rebillet. It's Marc Rebillet.
That's it. You said it beautifully.
Rebillet. I mean, I guess Rebillet.
Yeah, Rebillet.
But there's the word yay in there, so like I like that, right?
Yeah.
There we go.
Whee!
Before we actually dive in, like I saw the nicest description to explain who you are was a mixture of porn star and stand-up comedian. How do you become Loopdaddy?
Well, that's really nice. Hopefully, I think the on-stage persona. By the way, I've got a really bad chest cold right now, which is why I sound audibly sick, is because I am. So I apologize for that. But the stage personas, it's not that different from me, really. It's more an exaggeration, I would say. You know, it's just an exaggeration. I'm still somewhat like that, just less. If you imagine if I was like that all the time, I'd be an incredibly annoying person.
Glasses are shattering all over the world now. They're like, what? He's not wearing a robe in his free time?
He's not screaming at me at all hours of the day.
The fun part, though, Mark, was that your story on YouTube actually started, I think when you were 18, you were in line to get the iPhone, yeah?
That's right.
And you became a viral sensation. Like, how do you become a viral sensation and then the Loopdaddy eventually? And now in Berlin, here, playing in front of 9,000 people today.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, you know? I was in the right place at the right time for the iPhone video. And then didn't really anticipate that that would be my first little piece of internet notoriety, so to speak. And it just kept cropping up every once in a while, year after year. Every time a phone came out, that video would come up. And and then, I mean, a lot of time passed. I was trying to make music for years, very unsuccessfully. And then I lost a job and basically had to force myself to make it happen, to try to get people to pay me to do this show that I didn't really know what it was yet. I knew I wanted to improvise, but I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do that on stage. And so it just took a lot of time. And, it was a long and sort of boring road that only towards the end really started to accelerate.
So did you start just one day, you're like, oh, let's put it on the internet. Let's put it on YouTube and then see what happens. How did that happen? Like, because I can't imagine, I've never...
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much like that. You know, I had been trying to make music. I'd been putting my music on the internet. No one really was listening to it. And then I saw Reggie Watts, who is a brilliant improviser, one of the greats, the great, I would say. And anyway, watching him perform really did something to me, and I decided that if there was any way that I could also improvise, you know, on stage somehow, that would be great. It was like a dream, you know. And so eventually, once I lost this, it was before I lost this job. I just started making videos. I'd gotten a looper. And then I started making videos of myself just screwing around with this looper. I took to it fairly naturally, and it's still the same piece of equipment I use today. And
only now you jam with Reggie Watts.
That's right, with my idol.
So how did that happen? You guys just met one day and then he was like, okay, let's do it?
Yeah, I noticed that he started following me on Instagram and he was like liking a couple of my videos.
Man, that's a good day.
That was a really good day. That was a really good day. And then my agents got me got me into one of his shows that he was playing in Brooklyn, and I live in New York. And we met backstage and really hit it off, and we just have a lot in common. I didn't even know, but it turns out we have a lot in common. We're both half French. We both are only children. We both have a parent who died, and so there's a lot of, just connective tissue there. And of course, we both do the same sort of thing for money. And so we just hit it off really nicely. And he turns out he's an incredible human being. And very.
Was that also kind of the moment where you're like, damn, I've made it? Or
certainly one of them, yeah.
Yeah. What was the time when you realized that from I'm just making some videos on YouTube to like this is my life now, like this I mean something to people? Well,
that's a good question. I don't know. I think that probably started happening when I started touring. You know, because I was playing for about a year, just in restaurants and bars in Dallas, and then I moved to New York to try and do the same thing, and then my videos started getting shared around quite a bit, and then I started touring, and when I started touring and seeing people's enthusiasm and their energy at these shows, then I realized, like, man, this is like hitting some sort of place for people I didn't really realize.
What do you think it is? Because obviously, sure, it's music, but you also have, that personality. Like, people don't just watch for the music; they watch for you, right? So, like, what do you think is the magic for?
I really don't know. I really don't know. I guess I'm a positive sort of person, and I try and exude that in my videos for sure. But I'm just doing whatever comes to mind, and it happens to work out sometimes, and people seem to connect with it, I guess. There's some sort of reaching through the screen and connecting element that people have said to me that I'm not really even doing intentionally. I'm just doing whatever I think of in the moment and whatever I feel like is the most interesting or ridiculous or stupid I don't know. There's really no recipe, I would say. Nothing that I like plan out or try and do this particular kind of thing. It just sort of occurs, and whatever I'm happening to do, I guess sometimes lands with people and
well, I mean, they used to be able to call into your show, right? You would have like streams, and people would call in, and you would actually talk to them, right?
Yeah, that's right.
How do you? Because obviously now you're playing in front of 9,000 people tonight. Like, how do you make that contact happen now? Because do you see what's in the comments? You're kind of Chuck Norris in there, right? Yeah. Do you read that stuff?
Yeah, I do. I'm on the internet a lot. I do read them.
Me too.
Yeah, you are too. I know. Yeah, it's people have their expectations of me. I think are too high, but to maintain contact, at a big show like this, it's really, you just have to bring a really large, intense energy and really make sure that you are. I mean, I'm gonna be looking directly at lots of people and making them feel like I really am seeing them and calling people out and it has everything to do with bridging the gap between this person on stage and the crowd. It should feel like one and the same. It should feel like you're both just in the same room partying, at least to me. And that it's harder, it's more of a challenge, I should say, in a big room like this, rather than in a room with, 1,000, couple thousand people. But, 9,000 people, to reach people in the stands in the back, it takes you just have to enlarge your energy.
I think that's an interesting point you say that, because a lot of artists did it the other way around, right? They played big stadiums, and then suddenly, boom, pandemic. Like you're in your room, right? And then suddenly, like you're just playing to a screen. But you basically started out playing to a screen.
It's true.
And then now there's like real people.
Yeah, it's true. You know, the nice thing is though, you know, I was playing live shows well before the pandemic and touring before the pandemic as well. So you know, I have that. The rapport with an audience and crowd work and stuff was not something that was foreign to me at all before the pandemic. So as soon as it was over and we were ready to tour again, no problem. I prefer playing live than in my apartment. Much prefer it, because that live energy is something that is, you cannot get live streaming. You can't get it. It's totally different, you know? Yeah. As much as I love YouTube.com. Yeah. And I do. I really do.
Well, I guess it's just a different thing, right? Because like obviously during the pandemic, and you could see that in your numbers, obviously that gave you a lot of exposure, especially over here, like,
For
you know,
sure.
Because it just wasn't happening in real life. And, you know, now we're going back to a time where there can be both, right?
Yeah.
How much do your neighbors hate you by now?
Yeah.
Like, do you still like live in that apartment? Is that still where you stay?
I live in whatever the most recent one you've seen videos in is the one I'm still in. The smaller ones, I got a few noise complaints. This apartment is a little bigger, so I haven't gotten any that I know of in this one. Although when I'm making stuff, I have earphones in, so I wouldn't really be able to know if someone was knocking on my door, you know?
Yeah. Because it's kind of a big deal, you leaving your place. Like, you know, I was watching the streams. Like, I feel like, you know, it's the end of an era there.
Yeah. Oh, it's not over.
So yeah, I want to, like, since we're now in Germany, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but, you know, your second biggest audience on YouTube is actually from Germany, right?
Oh,
like,
really?
So United States
cool.
and Germany.
Yeah, that's great.
And, you know, I'm just wondering, like, do you know, like, are you in touch with, like, people in Germany? Like, are you in touch with your friends all over the world? Or, like, is that just...
To a degree, but, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm in touch. The only market I would say I'm maybe more in touch with than another market would be France, just because I'm half French.
Yeah.
You know, and so I feel a certain connection to that audience, I suppose. But the German audience has grown so much, I think. I mean, they've always been a big market, but I think the Edeka commercial that I did probably helped a lot.
Can you tell me how this came about? Because, like, did you just get a call from them, or like did it and this whole Schmand thing, because I'm sure there's like someone here tonight, like, you know, that will want to hear a song on Schmand.
Oh yeah, we'll be doing a Schmand song for sure. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, we got. I think it just came in as an offer from, you know, my agents, my branding agents had Edeka was looking at me and someone else. There was another person that they were looking at. I don't remember who, but they ended up choosing me, and had this insane idea for a commercial where every instrument, every item in the shopping in the market was hooked up to sound, and that I was basically like playing the supermarket. Yeah,
I mean, we've seen it. It was number 4 in the YouTube trends in Germany.
Oh, was it really?
It was a trending commercial, and it was even the making of, like, it was both videos were watched over 4 million times, right?
Jesus.
Yeah, so this was a big deal. Like, people, there's probably some people here that know you from the commercial.
Oh, I'm sure there's quite a bit, quite a few, I imagine. Yeah, it's very bizarre.
And then you sing about Schmand, because usually you sing about, you know, just your favorite things, you know, no names.
Right. Yeah, well, you know, you have a little bit of direction from the creative team so that they can sort of get what they want, because you're working with a brand too, so you have to keep all of that in mind. But ultimately, you know, we sort of said, you know, the idea is that you're sort of like buying everything in the store. So list different things, and then there's something that you can't find, and then
you made the loop for that?
Oh yeah, I made all the music and improvised the words, and then we basically shot the commercial around that structure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tune. It's a tune.
Yeah, thank you.
And what do you? I mean, obviously you're touring in Germany now, all over Europe. You're going, but what's like for you something that you still want to achieve? Like, what's kind of next for you?
Well, the next thing I really want to do is actually go back to what I used to do, because I just finished this show with Amazon Music on Twitch called We've Got Company, where I was hosting this sort of talk show with musical guests. We had Erykah Badu on, Tenacious D, we had a bunch of cool people on, and it was a really fun experience. But it was a lot, and then I just finished working on an album as well. That's not done. Hopefully will be finished in the next few months. But what I'd really like to do is to go back to the thing that I really enjoy doing, which is really just making up stupid music in front of strangers. So that's what's next on the agenda in 2023, is I'm going to go back to playing like restaurants, street corners, bars, with no tickets, unannounced, for people that have no interest in seeing me. And I'm going to film it, and so I'll be back on YouTube quite a bit, streaming this, filming it, whatever. But I'm really excited to get back to that.
Well, I'm very excited for that too, because we've been missing you. So come back. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good luck tonight. I'll be there.
Hell yeah, we'll see you there.